Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Rav and I am a study expert that has helped thousands of students get the best marks of their entire lives with the least amount of time studying. Today, I wanted to take you through what my weekly schedule was like as a year 11 and 12 student, not because I think that you should copy it exactly, but because I want to show you that it is possible to have time for your hobbies, maintain a social life, get enough sleep, and even grow a thriving and profitable side hustle whilst still getting one of the highest marks in the country. On the weekdays, I would get up at 6 a.m, get dressed, have breakfast, and be ready to leave the house by 6:45. My dad liked to beat the traffic, so we would always leave pretty early. We lived about a 45-minute drive away from my school. When I had my learners, often I would drive just to, get some hours up. However, if I had a test that day that I was stressed about, or I wanted to do something on my phone for my work, I would usually just be in the passenger seat and do that. We would then arrive at school at 7:30, and from 7:30 to 8:30 I would go to the school library and study. I really liked studying at that time because in the morning I found that I was the most focused and I got some pretty effective work done. I wasn't sort of tired from having been in lessons all day, and it was also dead quiet, so I didn't have a lot of people around distracting me. Then I would have classes from 8:30 to 3:30 as usual. In year 11 and 12, I would have a few free periods during the week, and at times, if they sort of coincided with lunchtime, or if I had 2 free periods in a row, I would try to go to the gym and get a workout in. Otherwise, if I had a particularly busy workload in terms of my side hustle, I ran an online store at the time, and if I needed to order stuff in, or if I needed to reply to a bunch of emails or deal with wholesalers, sometimes I would do that during lunchtime. Otherwise, I would spend my lunchtime with my friends. If I had free periods where I didn't go to the gym or I didn't have work to do, I would study so that I could relax when I went home. After school, I would go straight to the gym, so I wouldn't go home and rest. I would just get my dad to drop me off at the gym, and I would get there at about 4:45 to 5 p.m. Now, similarly to in the morning, I would use this time in the car to edit content and post on Instagram, which was a big component of my side hustle as well. It was where most of my traffic or most of my followers came from. I would then be at the gym until about 6:30 and then get home. This gym was pretty close to my house, so the transit time wasn't too bad. I'd get home and I'd have dinner. That would take me to about 7 or 7:15. And then I would, depending again on my workload, I would either study for an hour or an hour and a half, or I would have to pack boxes and send off packages for my work. No matter what I was doing, I would always make sure that I got to bed at 9 p.m. So it would really depend on how many free periods I had that day and what sort of things I had due and how much homework I had. I found that on the days where I had math, especially methods and specialist math together on the same day, I would have more homework, and so I would probably end up using my free periods and about an hour of studying at home to get my homework done. So if you count that all up together, that's an hour in the morning, maybe an hour during free period, and an hour at night. So maybe 3 hours max getting homework done. And there were days when I would maybe have the hour in the morning, not have any free periods, and then have to go home and pack boxes or do other work, which meant that I was only getting maybe an hour of work done or an hour of studying done each day. And that was okay, might not have gotten the homework that I was given done that day, but I would know and I would be sort of assured that I'd have time tomorrow or I'd have time on the weekend to finish it off. So there wasn't really any stress, and I would never actually have to stay up past my bedtime. I was really strict on my bedtime, probably too strict and a little bit too neurotic. That's a story for another day. But I never felt that I had to stay up later, or I never felt sort of anxious that I wasn't getting work done because the way I planned out my schedule is that if I had an important SAC or an assignment coming up that week, I would make sure that I had already studied for it, so finished my revision for it, or I would have already completed my final draft on the weekend before whatever was happening that week. Sometimes on Friday nights, I would skip studying after school and skip the gym entirely and go and hang out with my friends or even go on a date. Crazy. Boys in year 12, right? That's a story for another day as well. Anyways, the reason why I never had to stay up late or cram is because this is how I would go about my weekends. On Saturday, I'd still get up at 6, have breakfast, get ready, go to the gym, and then try and be in the neighborhood library at 9 a.m. From then, I would work solidly from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Of course, I would take breaks, like use the Pomodoro technique, take 5-minute breaks here and there, but the bulk of it was pretty solid study. And this would mean that I was able to catch up on any homework that I'd missed or been unable to do during that week, as well as start to prepare for my week ahead. And you would be surprised how much you can get done in 4 hours in an environment that is conducive to studying, like the library, and when you know that you've only got 4 hours to get that work done so you don't procrastinate. In the afternoons, so Saturday afternoons, they were exclusively for family or friends. Then on Sunday morning, I'd sleep in until about 8 a.m., again, go to the gym, and then straight from the gym, I'd go, so maybe at about 11 a.m. or so, I'd go grocery shopping, come home, meal prep for the week, and that would take me to about 2 p.m. I will go more in depth in another video about how I meal prepped, but essentially I would make 7 lunches and sort of 7 add-ons for dinners, and I would freeze 4 of those 7 days and have 3 of those days fresh. I don't really know if that makes sense, but I will talk about that more later. Anyways, so I meal prep for the whole entire week, and that would take me about 2 p.m. And then from 2 p.m. until bedtime, I would just be a literal potato. Like, I would not force myself to do anything productive. I would relax, I would watch TV, I would scroll through Instagram, and just allow myself to relax and recuperate for the upcoming Monday, where I would jump straight back into it. So, at the end of all of that, there are 3 main lessons that I want you to take away from it. One is that you don't need to spend hours studying a day. Like I said, my max was maybe 3 hours, my minimum was like almost 0 or just 1 hour. And the reason why you don't need to spend hours studying is because you can really do a lot in 1 or 2 hours if you use active study techniques like blurting or application. I'm going to be talking more about these study techniques in subsequent videos, so stay tuned for that. Secondly, make the most of your weekends. Not to study, although that can be a really good way for you to get back on track if you have a lot of co-curricular activities during the week, but also to do things like meal prep, to do things like catch up with family and friends, because that is important, to do things like get your life together, just sort out admin stuff and everything. Weekends can be a really useful tool. And even then, if you don't feel like being productive, actually be okay with being a potato on the weekend. Like, please don't feel guilty about not being productive on the weekends. Enjoy your time off and actually relax, engage in self-care so that you're ready to get straight back into it on Monday. Finally, deliberately schedule extracurricular activities during the week. There are multiple reasons for this. One is by engaging in things that aren't just school. So for example, for me, that was choir, that was gym, that was my side hustle. It reminds you that academics and grades is not the entire world. And it can be hard to realize that in year 11 and 12 because your schools are so focused on your ATAR or your grades, and they think that it's going to define your whole career. But having a job and doing arts and, keeping fit, meeting people from outside of school, from all different walks of life, it really helps you put things in perspective and reminds you that you are not just your grade. You're not just defined by your grades, okay? The other thing about having extracurricular activities is that if they are deliberately scheduled into your weekly schedule, then you know that you only have a specific amount of time that you can study for. And that means that when you're studying in those times, you're going to be so much more focused and you're not going to want to procrastinate because you know that at at 6 p.m. you have to go to the gym, or you know that at 7 p.m. you have karate practice. And so you can't just put things off and you can't just sit there on your phone. As they say, a task expands to fill the time allocated to it. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I hope it was useful. Again, I want to stress that you do not have to copy what I did. Everybody's lives is very different and there's no right or wrong way to do things, but those are just some ideas that you can incorporate to help you have not only a more academically successful year 11 and 12, but also a more successful or well-rounded year 11 and 12. Thanks guys. Let me know what topics you want to cover next in the comments.